Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to voice my opposition to passing Senate Bill 13. Senate Bill 13 was a bad bill to begin with, and one which barely squeezed through this House last week. For many, the only reason it did so was because its one small saving grace was that it was tie-barred to HB 4724. Well, thanks to committee testimony, we already know that Senate Bill 13 was going to lead to longer lines and wait times at the polls. Because of that information, we know that it was going to disproportionately affect women and single mothers. More often than not, it's mom taking the children with her to vote. Long lines make voting harder for parents standing in line with a young child or two that they need to entertain and keep fairly quiet so other voters are not bothered. I know that my husband and I wanted to make sure our children were exposed to voting, and I took them to the polls with me so that they could understand the process. They were always proud of their "I voted" stickers on their coats or shirts. But if I were taking young children to the polls, knowing that the lines could be long and I would have to keep them in line and entertain for a long wait, I would rethink that option. Is it really worth it to expose them to a democratic process if it requires too much waiting for them? Longer wait times mean added pressure and stress on parents who have their child with them or may even have to make it home in time to meet a child coming home from school. Now, without the tie bar to allow no reason absentee voting, those hurdles will be even more significant. By passing this bill without the tie bar, we are sending a clear message to single and working mothers. You can do your civic duty, you can be a mother. Doing both on election day can be much tougher than it needs to be. Now, that's not only irresponsible, it's reckless. As legislators, it is our job to protect the right of every citizen to make their voices heard. There's an opportunity before us now to right our wrongs. We have two choices. We can either take a step back and admit without this tie bar, Senate Bill 13's only accomplishment will be to restrict voter access. Or we can blindly attach our names to it and, by extension, to the purposeful disregard of women and mothers across this state. If we want to be responsible legislators, the answer is clear. We have to vote against concurring with Senate changes to, with the Senate changes to SB 13. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The clerk will tally, display, and announce a vote.
Mr. Speaker, on the question concurring on the House substitute as amended to Senate Bill 1-3, there are 54 aye votes and 52 nay votes.
A majority of the members elected and serving having voted therefore, the House substitute to the Senate bill as amended is concurred in.